we did yesterday. In the Aparokshanubhuti text, the first verse, verse number 1. You can chant after me if you like. Shri Harim Paramanandam, Shri Harim Paramanandam, Upadeshtaramishwaram, Upadeshtaramishwaram, Vyapakam Sarvalokanam, Vyapakam Sarvalokanam, Karanam Tam Namamyaham, Karanam Tam Namamyaham. I salute him, Sri Hari, the destroyer of ignorance, the supreme bliss, the first teacher, the Lord of all, the one who pervades all the worlds. And how does the Lord pervade all the worlds? As their cause. Now what does this mean? This is one concept we have to sort of get a grasp on before we proceed. What does it mean to say God is the cause of the universe? Every theistic religion says God created the universe. But this causality, God is the creator, the universe is the created, God is the cause, the universe is the effect. What is the sense of that? What exactly is being said? Now, in Sankhya, cause is of two kinds. One is an instrumental cause, in Sanskrit, nimitta karana. Like a carpenter making this wooden table. So the carpenter is the instrumental cause and the table is the effect, the product. Another type of cause is the wood which is made into the table. The carpenter does not become the table, God forbid. That would be terrible. If you are a writer and you're working on a computer writing an article, you are the instrumental cause and the article is the effect. But you don't become the article. The paper and the pen on your computer, the bytes on your computer, they become the article. That's the material out of which it is made. In Vedanta, so the second kind of cause, the material out of which something is made, the wood out of which this table is made, the gold out of which ornaments are made, the material is called Upadana Karana in Sanskrit. Upadana, the material cause. So we have two kinds of cause. Instrumental cause, material cause. Now what kind of cause is God? What kind of cause is God for this universe? Instrumental cause? Oh, somebody knows a lot of Vedanta. Immediately, that's the problem talking to a Vedantic audience. They know the answers already. Both, yes. Instrumental cause, some of the dualistic schools, like the Nyaya school, they say God is the instrumental cause. God is separate from the universe and makes the universe out of matter, energy, time, space and all of that. In fact, thousands of years ago, if you read the original Sanskrit, Ishvara, God, is the instrumental cause, and there is space already and free floating atoms. They actually speak about that, free floating atoms. And by the will of God, they coalesce together into the various worlds. Pretty scientific, but pretty sophisticated kind of understanding of what the universe, how the universe was created. Anyway, Vedanta does not agree. Sankhya does not agree, but especially Vedanta. Now we are in Vedanta. Vedanta says that God is ultimate reality, Brahman, is both the instrumental cause and the material cause. In Sanskrit, abhinna nimitta upadana karanam. The non-different, the one instrumental and material cause of the universe. What is interesting for us here is, it's being said that God is the material cause of the universe. It's the very substance or the reality of the universe. Why is that important? See, if God were just a transcendent creator, then we have no access to God. Why? Because what do we have access to? What is presented to us? What do we have before us? This universe. This world is there, this body is there, my experience is there, and if God is something separate from this, like a carpenter from the table, then God is not here, somewhere else. And I have no access to God. But if God is the very material of this universe, then God is present in some way in the universe, just as wood is present in a wooden table. Clay is present in a clay pot. If clay is the material out of which the clay pot is made, then where will you find the clay? In the pot itself, right? If you're given a pot and you're told the clay is the material out of which the pot has been made, I will say, oh, I've got a pot. Where is the clay? Here itself. Similarly, if I say God is the material out of which the universe is made, where will you find God? Here itself. Wherever you think there is reality in the universe, there God should be found. Okay, so God is to be found in what we are experiencing now and all the time. And Vedanta is the way which shows us directly how to access God. Now I'll use the word Brahman, or the ultimate reality, here in what we are experiencing. You see, the logic here is, what gives you the right to say that Brahman or the ultimate reality is here and now? What gives me the right to say is this, the claim that Brahman is the material of this universe, or in more philosophical terms, Brahman is the reality of this appearance. Right here, what we are experiencing, if we investigate that, that's the claim of Advaita Vedanta. If we investigate that, we should be able to discover that ultimate reality which Vedanta speaks about. And that's the whole technique, the whole secret of Advaita Vedanta. With this idea of causality in mind, material cause, ultimate reality is appearing at this universe, so it must be here, in this universe. If we investigate, we can find. Now we will see. At the very end of this text, Shankaracharya gives us the very heart of Advaita Vedanta. If you say, what is going on in Advaita Vedanta? What is the underlying algorithm, you can say? Or what is the formula underlying this whole thing? That he gives us at the end of this book. Please turn to verse number 135. We'll do 135 and 136, and later on we will do 139. 135, verse number 135. This is the essence of Advaita Vedanta. If we understand this, even conceptually, we'll understand what's going on in Advaita Vedanta. Alright, let's do the verses. Before that, a little interlude. Understanding and enlightenment, we were talking about it yesterday. God realization and understanding are not exactly the same thing. There is a relation between the two. Especially in the path of knowledge, there is a relation between the two. But this knowledge and understanding which we get has to be deepened into enlightenment or God realization. This interlude is, last month, when I went to Harvard, I was speaking to, in their philosophy department, a very brilliant philosopher, will remain anonymous for the time being because he's my teacher right now. So, he asked me, Swami, how many people attain enlightenment? Your goal is enlightenment, right? How many people attain enlightenment? How many people have been enlightened in the world from the beginning of, say, he's talking about Buddhism? Few. However way you put it, whichever way you calculate, there will be very few people who have been enlightened. So why should anybody follow this path? The chances of success are low. Why should anybody follow this path? Tell me. So I gave two answers, and he gave me a third answer. I'll give all three now. Why should you try to be spiritual in this life, if enlightenment is so difficult and far off? The two answers I gave, one, everybody will be enlightened. Ultimately, if we are Brahman, why will you not be enlightened? Ultimately, we will all be enlightened. But ultimately is the catchword. Maybe not in this lifetime. It may take more than one lifetime. Maybe. So we will all be enlightened. It's not a question of failure. Nobody really in the end fails. You cannot. Second answer I gave him was, if you understand this path, what else will you do? What else will you do? If you begin to understand what spirituality, God, I'm not saying you have to become an Advaitin or a Buddhist or something. Any path of spirituality, if you pick it up, if you have devotion to God, or if you are a meditator, or if you like the path of Advaita, once one understands what all this is about, what else will you do? Why will you give it up at all? Everything else is secondary, is not worthwhile compared to this. Somebody put it this way, if this is true, what else matters? If this is not true, what else matters? So this is my second answer. What else will you do except being spiritual? Then he said that these two answers you gave are ultimate answers. Philosophical, deep answers. But what about a practical answer? Why should I be spiritual today? And then he gave a very nice answer which I'll share with you. He said, Use spiritual today for the simple fact that it is helpful day to day, minute to minute in your life. Quite apart from the ultimate enlightenment. Every day you will get the benefit of meditation and devotion and scriptural study and doing good to others. And then I thought, it's true. Sri Krishna himself says, Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. A little bit of practice in spiritual life saves you from great fear, great sorrow, great anxiety in life. So these three answers I'm putting before you. Why one should be spiritual. Alright, now back to the very heart of Advaita Vedanta. Verses 135 and 136. You can chant after me if you like. Karye karanata yata, Karye karanata yata, Karane nahi karyata, Karane nahi karyata, Karanatvam tato gachet, Karanatvam tato gachet, Karyabhave vicharata, Karyabhave vicharata. What does this mean? The nature of the cause is to be found in the effect, but the effect is not found in the cause, and therefore the cause loses its causality upon investigation. What's going on here? Don't worry, it's pretty simple. We'll come back to it. You'll see. Within a few minutes we'll all be saying, oh, that's it. It's as clear as daylight. Now, the next verse, 136. Ata shuddham bhavet vastu, Ata shuddham bhavet vastu, Yadvai vacham agocharam, Yadvai vacham agocharam, Drashtavyam mridghate naiva, Drashtavyam mridghate naiva, Drishtantena punah punah, Drishtantena punah punah. Then, when you've accomplished what was done in the first one, all the cause and effect business, then the pure reality, the ultimate reality, which is beyond speech, that alone remains. This should be understood again and again through the example of the clay and the pot. So we'll start here. He has given us a clue. Use the example of clay and pot to understand what I've just said. And this is the heart of Advaita Vedanta. Not clay and pot. Clay and pot is the example. The heart of Advaita Vedanta is Brahman and the universe. The ultimate reality and the universe. We have one end of the stick. That means the universe we have here. Here's the world, here's the body, mind, here's my life. Okay. Starting from here we will reach Brahman, the absolute. How? The example of the clay and pot. You might think, why clay and pot all the time? I guess there were lots of pots in those days. That was the most obvious thing. I mean, if you excavate an ancient culture, what's the first thing they find? Pottery. Pottery. One reason is it lasts. We had in India, one of the early pioneers of the Green Movement, this minister who said, everybody's littering. This person was the head of the railway ministry. Everybody's littering, but taking these paper cups and plastic cups and throwing them all aside is terrible. Let's go back to the traditional Indian clay pot. It's biodegradable, recyclable, so it's not harmful to the environment. You drink your teas and toss it away, it will go back to the earth. Not quite. Once you bake the clay, then it's the least biodegradable of all things. Your civilization, it may collapse. The clay pot will be left behind. 1,000 years later, archaeologists will find nothing of our civilization except the teapot, which is left behind. Yes, but it's true. It's not harmful for the environment, not like plastic or something. So, a clay pot. Take the clay pot, and now we examine 4 stages of analysis. 4 stages of analysis. The whole analysis is like a magic trick. Imagine there's a pot, and I'll make the pot disappear. How? Just by analyzing it. The first thing is stage 1, stage 4, 4 stages. Stage 1 is you have a pot. Stage 2, the idea of a cause is introduced. We are told the pot is an effect, but there is an underlying cause which is called clay. So now there are two things in my mind. Pot and some cause called clay. Alright, that's very nice. Where do I find the clay? Remember the idea of cause. The material cause is to be found in the effect itself. If it's a clay pot and clay is the cause, where will you find the clay? In the pot. So stage 3, we examine the pot and we find, what is it? We find the clay. Where do we find it? On the top, on the sides, in the bottom, inside and outside. We find it is clay through and through. Clay is the cause, pot is the effect. When we examine the effect, the pot, we find it is nothing but clay, pervaded by clay. Everywhere, what you touch, what you weigh, all of it is clay. Then it brings us to the stunning 4th stage. Apart from the clay, there is no such thing called pot. Stage 4, when you examine it, you find it's clay. Now where is the pot? Because you find, apart from the clay, there is no thing called pot. There is no reality called pot. There is no substance called pot. Think about it carefully. Pot is a name. Pot is a form. Pot is a function. You can put water in it or whatever. But the reality of it, the material of it, the substance of it is clay and clay only. There is no substance or reality called pot apart from the clay. Clay alone is. Pot is an appearance of that. You say, no, Swami, pot and clay, I understand what you mean by clay, but pot is also real. Pot is also real. Clay is also real, pot is also real. Are there two things? No. There's one thing. Well, it is both clay and pot. Why can't you say that it's both clay and pot? No, you cannot. Why are you saying that clay is real and pot is not real? What is your, you will now ask Shankaracharya, what is your definition of reality? If you have a philosophical bent of mind, you will ask, how are you defining reality? You are defining the pot out of existence. No. Here is the definition of reality. A thing is real if it can exist by itself. A thing is not real, ultimately, if it depends on something else for its existence. Now you see. The clay exists by itself. In our example, of course, ultimately the clay exists only because of Brahman, that Advaita will say. But in our example, the clay exists by itself. The pot exists depending on the clay. How do you know? When you touch the pot, what are you touching? Clay. Can you touch the pot apart from the clay? I will not touch the clay, but I will touch only the pot? No. When you weigh the pot, what are you weighing? Clay. There's a beautiful example of a businessman who got into hard times, and he went in India he had a beautiful image of the golden Ganesha. And he went to pawn that image so that he'd get some money, which he needed badly. He went to the jeweler, and the jeweler weighed the image and he said, I will give you money at this rate. So many ounces of gold, so much I'll give you. Alright, but you know Ganesha always comes with Ganesha's vehicle, the mouse. So there's also a golden mouse there. How much for the mouse? And the jeweler said, the same rate. It's gold, it's the same rate. And the man was furious. What? This is sacrilege. Ganesh ji ka jo bhav, juha ka bhi wahi bhav. What the worth of Ganesha and the worth of the mouse? Have you no religion, man? And that man said, sir, for you it may be Ganesha and the mouse, for me it's gold. I'm just weighing the substance. The reality is gold. And the name and the form and the function, yes, you can call it Ganesha and the mouse and whatever you want to do. So that's what Advaita is saying. Shankaracharya, he defines reality, that which has independent existence. And that is an appearance which depends on that independent existence and then appears to you. Yes, the name of the pot, it's a name. The form of the pot, it's a form. And you can use it in many ways which you cannot use clay. Just clay you cannot store water or with. In the pot you can store water. In Sanskrit, nama rupa vyavahara. Name, form and function or transaction. These are the very constituents of Maya. So name and form and transaction are there. Nobody denies it. But remember, why are you calling them Maya? They are very useful. True, they are useful. But can they exist without the clay? Can you use a pot, if you take the clay out of it, can you store water in it? No. Even the use of the pot depends on the clay. Can the pot retain its shape, its form, without the clay? No. Take the clay away, pot will disappear. Opposite is not true. Can the clay exist without being a pot? Of course it can. It was clay before. It is clay afterwards. But when it's a pot, even then it is clay. So clay does not depend on the pot. Pot depends on the clay. And once you remove the clay, when there is no form and no use, what does the word pot mean? Nothing. Just an empty word in the air. What does it mean? So here the analysis shows, if you look at it, it's clay and clay throughout. Even when it's appearing as a pot, it's only clay. Now, Shankaracharya says, look back upon what we did. We said, here is the pot, stage 1. Stage 2, we said the pot is an effect, its cause is clay. What is the cause? The cause is something that produces an effect. That's how you define a cause. Cause is clay. Stage 3, we looked for the clay. When we found it everywhere in the pot, inside, outside, up and down, through and through. Stage 4, we found there is no pot apart from the clay. Clay alone is real, of which the pot is an appearance. Clay satyam, pot mithya. Clay real, pot appearance. If there is no pot apart from the clay, in our causality language, if there is no effect apart from the cause, can we say that the clay is really a cause? Let me repeat that. What is the cause which produces an effect? But when we search for the effect, when you look at it, it's clay. Now you search for the pot, you can't find a pot. There is no pot apart from the clay. There is no effect apart from the cause. Then what is the cause of? What did it produce? It was clay earlier, it is clay now, it continues to be clay. Did it produce a second thing apart from it? No. Then the cause loses its causality and remains as the acausal, non-causal reality. 4 stages. Stage 1, just the pot, universe. Stage 2, you are introduced to a cause, clay. Pot is there and you are told that there is a cause of this pot, clay, material cause. Here is the universe, there is a cause, pure consciousness or pure existence. Then you examine, 3rd stage, and you find the clay everywhere in the pot. You examine and you find by the processes of with what we did yesterday, self and non-self, seer and the seen, you come to the ultimate consciousness within, pure consciousness. There is another way of finding pure being everywhere in all our experience. And the 4th stage is, you see that apart from the clay, there is no such thing as a pot. Apart from being, existence, there is no entity. I mean, logically it's impossible. Apart from existence, what will happen? If you say something different from A, not A. Different from existence? Non-existent. If the world is a reality apart from such existence, then it should be able to exist without existence, which is illogical, laughable. Apart from existence, non-existence. Can the world exist apart from existence? No, of course not. It will become non-existent. Apart from clay, there is no pot. Apart from the cause, if there is no effect, then the cause is not a cause. Cause did not produce anything. Cause alone exists and you cannot call it a cause. Now you look at the verse number 135. You see, it's pretty easy. Karye karanatayata. This is the 2nd stage. In the pot, which is the effect, introduce the idea of a cause. There is some clay. In the pot, there is clay. Karane nahi karyata. 3rd stage, you see, when you examine the pot, you find clay and clay only. There is no such separate thing called pot. In the cause, there is no effect. in the cause, in the clay, there is no pot. Then what happens? The last stage, the non-duality. Karanatvam tato gaccheti. Then the causality of the clay is lost. That the clay produced a pot. There is the clay and there is pot. No. You cannot say, here is clay and here is pot. Show me. You take the clay away, show me the pot. No. So then the causality of the clay is lost. Causality of pure consciousness or pure being is lost. Pure being or pure consciousness alone exists. Brahman alone exists. That does not prevent the pot from appearing. When you have clay pot and you say clay alone exists, but still when you look at it, what will you see? Pot. When you are holding it, what will you be holding? Pot. When you use it, pot. Name, form and use continues. The world continues as it is. It is realized as nothing other than Brahman. This is the heart of the Advaitic method. Now if you see, Karye Karanatayata, in the effect, introduce the idea of a cause. Here is the world, introduce the idea of God. God is the cause, world is the effect. Brahman is the cause, world, universe, Jagat is the effect. If you stop at this stage, what do you get? Dualism, Advaita. Dualistic religion, theistic religions, they stop at this stage. Here is the world, there is a cause. God, worship God, love God, surrender to God. They are not wrong. If you say, here is a pot and there is something called clay, is it wrong? No. But that's not the final analysis. If you go deeper, if you stop here, you know what's the problem. There's no problem as far as spiritual life is concerned. But there is a logical, philosophical problem, a scientific problem. What will happen is, in ancient times, the Buddhists will come and say, where is your God? Here is the world. World is here. Show me your God. It's like saying, here is the pot. Show me the clay. What clay? No, in the pot. No, not in the pot. Pot is here. Show me your clay. You're saying there is some cause called clay. Show me the clay. You cannot show clay apart from the pot. Pot is the only thing you have got. The universe is the only thing we have got. You have to show the ultimate reality here in our lives. If you say that apart from there is a God, it's unprovable. That's what happened between the ancient Hindus and the Buddhists, the dualistic Hindus and the Buddhists, and they kept on charging them. Where is this God apart from the universe? Where is this Atma apart from body and mind? Where is the rope apart from the snake? No. That snake alone is the rope. Investigate that. If you stop here, that's the problem. Modern scientists will come, new atheists, Richard Dawkins will come and say, what God? Show me. Richard Dawkins, selfish gene. New atheists, Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, Christopher Hitchens, even Sean Carroll. So all of them, they will ask, where is this God you are talking about? You can't show. I mentioned Alan Watts yesterday. So he says, he calls it a very nice way, he's very witty. He says, if you stop at this point, it becomes a crackpot theory. Clay and pot. If you say, here is a pot, that's fine. You go about your way, use the pot like an ordinary person, fine. But if you start doing philosophy and spirituality and investigation, then if you say, no, there is a cause, clay, and stop, then you cannot show a cause apart from the pot. He calls it crackpot theory. You go further. You say, no, but investigate the pot, you will find the clay there. Everywhere. Investigate this world, in every experience, you will find existence consciousness. Isness awareness. A shining isness. Right now. Right now. I am. This table is. People, they exist. What is this isness? Existence, being. Every experience is awareness. What is this underlying awareness in every experience? Experiences are all different. Table experience, book experience, cloth experience, man experience, woman experience. But everything is in consciousness. Without consciousness, no experience. What is this unchanging underlying awareness? So this is what is being talked about. If you stop at the third stage, why not stop at the third stage? Here is a pot and it is pervaded by clay. Here is a world which is pervaded by existence consciousness. This is Vishishtadvaita. Qualified monism. World is there, and there is an underlying unity. But is it true that the world exists apart from that underlying unity? Is it true that there is a pot apart from the clay? It's like saying, pot is there, underlying there is a clay. But what do you mean underlying? Is it like this? Here's a book, and underlying it is my hand. Is it like that? Pot and clay, are they like that? No, no, no. Every bit of the pot is clay. Nothing other than clay. Every bit of our experience is Brahman. Nothing other than that. That's what is meant. Now let us do verse number 139. 139. It's a very nice verse. He summarizes the whole of, not only Aparoksha Anubhuti, but the whole of Advaita Vedanta here. Same thing. What we have learned now, you will easily understand. When we chant it, you will see it's very easy to understand. Karye hi karanam pashyet. Karye hi karanam pashyet. Paschat karyam visarjayet. Paschat karyam visarjayet. Karanatvam tato gachet. Karanatvam tato gachet. Avashishtam bhaven munihi. Avashishtam bhaven munihi. So the whole process is given. Karye hi karanam pashyet. In the effect, learn to see the cause. In the pot, you see the clay. In the world, you see Brahman. Then, paschat karyam visarjayat. Next step, you let the effect go. When you're looking at the pot, seeing the clay, that's the first step. Second step, let the pot idea go. You see clay and clay only. Let the world idea go. You see existence consciousness only. It's possible. If you stare long enough at this book, you'll begin to see its paper only. The book idea will disappear. Let the book go. Let the clay go. Let the pot go. Let the world, let samsara go. See God and God only. Brahman and Brahman only. Then what will happen? Karanatvam tato gachet. Automatically the idea of causality will drop off. That world, God created a world. No. God and God alone. No world has been created at all. That's the meaning of God alone is real, the world is an appearance. Brahman alone is real, world is an appearance. The next part is beautiful. What is the end of it all? Avashishtam bhavet munihi. We would normally think, oh okay, ultimately clay alone remains. Though it looks like a pot, but we know it's clay alone. Though it looks like the world, we know it's Brahman alone. Brahman alone remains without a second, non-duality is proved. No, Shankaracharya says, you alone remain. Avashishtam bhavet munihi. The sage who has realized this, that one alone remains. The Muni remains. You remain. Because that existence consciousness which you see manifested as this universe, that is nothing other than you. How do I know that? That's what we did yesterday. All those steps, they will make sense now. All those steps that will be seer and seen, the conscious and the not conscious, the changing and the unchanging, and there are many others. We did one more, many and one, composite and single. All of them are pointing towards the one unchanging reality within us, which is a pure subject, not an object. That alone is appearing as the objective universe. But the appearance will continue. After realizing all this, will you be unable to use the pot? When you realize the pot is nothing but clay, afterwards, now how can I store it? All the nights earlier I could put water in the pot, you have ruined it all. Now I can't put water in the pot, I can't put flowers in the pot. No, no, no. You can continue to use the pot as it is. Thus, the enlightened person can continue to function in the universe without any problem whatsoever. Much better than us, in fact. We are plagued by what is called attraction and repulsion, raga, dvesha. This is nice, I want it. That is awful, I'm terrified of it, I'm anxious, want to avoid it at all costs. What is this? I want it and I want to avoid it. It is name and form. Underlying it is the same Brahman. That's why in the Gita again and again it is said the enlightened person attains samatvam, Same-sightedness. I don't like that term. It sounds like a near-sighted, far-sighted, ocular some problem in the ophthalmological problem. It means seeing the same divinity in every experience, in every person we come across, in every event that we experience, and within ourselves also. All the time, not that you're always thinking about it. When you're using a pot, are you always thinking, it's clay, it's clay, it's clay? No. But it's always, you know it. Anytime when somebody asks you what's it, you say it's a clay pot. So the enlightened person is not always thinking it's Brahman, it's Brahman. Somebody explained, when you're enlightened, have you seen the EEG machine? It goes like this. So always in your mind it's Brahman will come up. No, it's not like that. It's always available. Whenever you want it, the knowledge is absolutely clear. That is enlightenment, Jivan Mukta, and living according to that knowledge. Karye hi karanam pashyet. See the cause in the effect. See Brahman in every experience. Paschat karyam visarjayet. Let go the pot. Let go means mentally in your understanding, and focus on the clay aspect. Let go the names and forms. Friend, enemy, like, dislike, nice event, awful event. Let go. See it is existence consciousness. Once you are centered there, you will realize karanatvam tato gachet, that existence consciousness is without any effect. There is no second reality apart from it. That's called non-duality. And the beautiful thing is, this non-dual reality is you. You are that. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. You always were that, you are that now, and you will continue to be. It's alright. After that you can lead your life, there's no problem at all. Somebody asks that, you might think, if everything I see is Brahman, then what about good and bad? All these questions come that, will I lose all sense of good and bad? Everything is Brahman. After all, the good is also Brahman, bad is also Brahman. Not at all. After enlightenment, all the understanding of the world will still remain intact. There is a beautiful story near our main monastery in Belur. There is this festival once in a year, and children go there. One of the things you find there are little dolls made of sugar. You can eat them. So there are men and elephants and tigers, and the child is crying to the mother, but I want an elephant. And the elephant is out of stock. And the mother says, take anyone, it's the same thing anyway. The child is outraged. How can it be the same thing? How can the horse be an elephant? Now, the child is looking at it as a name and form. But the mother sees both. The mother understands when the child says, this is an elephant, this is a horse, this is a horse, they are different. But the mother understands the deeper truth also, that they are all sugar and it's alright, whether it's an elephant or a horse. Another point. When you say cause and effect, clay and pot, God and the world, this is, I said, duality. This is one kind of religion. Majority is like this. There is some God. And they are not wrong. If you say there is pot and there is clay, is it wrong? Not wrong actually. Deeper. Everywhere in the pot there is clay. Everywhere in this world it's pervaded by God. I said this is Vishishtadvaita. I'm making very general, painting with broad strokes now. Vishishtadvaita. Vishishtadvaita says one underlying divine reality. Not that the divine reality is apart from the world, it is right here. We are all parts of it. We are pervaded by the divine reality. Notice, there is still a sense of world and God. Underlying truth, underlying unity. But still the distinctions of the world are real. And then the third will be non-duality. When you see it is clay through and through, there is no second real thing called pot. When you see it is Brahman through and through, there is no second real thing called the world also. Appearance of world is there, nobody denies. Appearance of pot is there, nobody denies. Name, form, use, they continue. Nama, Rupa, Vyavahara continues. This is called Advaita, non-duality. I just wanted to add, Sri Ramakrishna talks about Vijnana. Beyond this knowledge is another experience. What happens? It's as if the pot comes back again, but you know it's nothing other than clay. And then you can use it, you can enjoy it and live your life with it. The world comes back again, and you know it's nothing other than God. It sounds similar to stage 3. But remember, in stage 3, the world has some reality of its own, but it's all embedded in part of the divinity, which is Vishishtadvaita. In that is stage 2, that's the earlier one, Vishishtadvaita. The next one, non-duality, the world is lost sight of altogether. And in what Sri Ramakrishna says, Vijnana, it comes back again. You live your life, but you are in the midst of divinity all the time. Sri Ramakrishna says it's like a person going up the stairs, leaves the door and the stairs and the first floor and all behind, goes up to the rooftop. And then he finds the material out of which the roof is made, the concrete and the wood and the bricks. It's the same material out of which the stairs and the other floors were made. When he goes down again and sees the whole thing is made of the same material. When you go to the Absolute and find the non-dual Brahman, existence consciousness, that is the underlying reality. But then when you look back upon the world, people are there, your own body is there, mind is there, the world is there. You find the same divinity radiating through and through. There is no second thing. I asked a very great Swami, Upen Maharaj, Nirmuktananda. Yes. He lived to maybe 101 or something. 102. He's a disciple of Swami Shivananda. It's a wonderful Swami. I once asked him, it's a long story, but I asked him, he was sitting in Holy Mother's temple, must have been 98 or 99 at that time. And always when he would see me, he would come along, he was a very jolly, happy old man, and when he would be wheeled along in his wheelchair, he would look at me, and I was a very young monk, but he would wave to me and he would say, well, Pandit, what are you studying and what are you teaching? Well, young scholar, what are you studying and teaching? So one day I asked him, the one who is, I had the sense that he was, in some sense, definitely was spiritually highly developed. Yes, definitely he had. So I asked him, the enlightened one, how does that one see this? At that time, he was sitting in the temple, there were a lot of people around, the river, Ganga was flowing by in front, there's a temple of Swami Vivekananda there, he was sitting and looking there. How do you see this? Is it like a shadow of name and form and there is a radiant underlying reality? You see, in my mind there is a difference between pot and clay still. So he looked intrigued for a moment and they said, no. There is only one, there are not two. There is only one. Aktayache. There is only one. Straight away, he said. It's not that there is an appearance of a false world, underlying that there is an appearance of a false snake, underlying that there is a real rope. Not like that. There is only one reality. That the enlightened one sees, and he just said that much. In the later I will add that the enlightened one sees as that same radiant divinity. So that's the final vision. Of course, I went ahead and asked him, is that how you are seeing the whole world right now? I asked him. And he launched into another little story. I'll tell that and stuff. He said, I asked him, Swami, is that how you are seeing the world now? In the midst of all those hundreds of people. He looked at me and he said, many years ago, Swami Buddhanandaji was the head of Delhi Ramakrishna Mission. And there was a great Swami, Jagadanandaji, who translated the great master, the disciple of the Holy Mother. And in his own lifetime, he was regarded as an enlightened person. So Swami Buddhananda was the head of the Ramakrishna Mission Delhi, asked Swami Jagadananda, Sir, people say you are enlightened. Are you enlightened? Mosai loke bole apni brahmagyan apna ki brahmagyan hoyeche. In Bengali he said, Sir, are you enlightened? Have you attained the knowledge of and realization of Brahman? And Jagadanandaji is reputed to have a very sweet smile. I've heard it from different people who've met him. He gave that his trademark sweet smile and he said, he was very tall and imposing. Looked down and he smiled and he said, if I say yes, will you believe me? I immediately understood. I mean, the very hairs on my hands stood on the end when I heard that from that old Swami sitting there. I just bowed down and I said, alright Maharaj, I've understood. And I went away from there. Alright, time for Q&A. Questions? Raise your hand. Yes, we'll start here. I was purposely avoiding him because he asked the difficult ones.
And this morning I've got two, but they're easy questions. One is about the verse 139. I just noticed I was intrigued by the difference between your translation of the last foot of the verse and the translation in the book. Here he translates Bhavin, or Bhavik, as becomes. So the sage himself becomes what remains. And you said that the sage is what remains. Now, who, of course, can mean is or becomes. But could you comment on the your translation and this translation, the difference between the two that I see?
So it's a limitation of language. The problem is we're trying to grasp non-duality with language, and language operates in the level of duality. So when it says the knower of Brahman becomes Brahman, Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati, does when you realize that the pot is nothing but clay, does the pot become clay? It was always clay. Not only that, pot was not, clay only was. So there is nothing to become clay. It is not that the pot is transformed into clay, not even that the pot was always clay, the pot was not, clay only was. Mary Hale wrote this poem to Swami Vivekananda saying that I've understood what you have taught, that all is God. And Swami Vivekananda wrote back in a poem saying that I've never taught such strange doctrine, that all is God. How strange, you have said it, that all is God. He said, no, God only is and all is not. I'm paraphrasing him. He says it, clay only is. When you want to use the word is most exactly, then it should be applied only to the clay, not to the pot. Pot is not. But pot is an appearance based on the clay. So the Muni, the sage, is Brahman. But we can express it this way. If you go through this process, you become Brahman, means you realize yourself as Brahman.
And the other question is about Vijnana. Just a comment from you on there are some who say that Sri Ramakrishna's Vijnana is Vishishta Advaita. And so just a comment on that, why it is or is not.
I agree there are some people who say that, and I disagree with them. Because two reasons. One, notice in Sri Ramakrishna's teaching, he goes to full enlightenment. The one realizes the ultimate reality as the constituents of the roof. Out of the roof means the absolute, the highest. Once you realize that and you look back upon what you had left behind, you find that in. But Vishishta Advaita is not like that. Vishishta Advaita, you never come to a point where the world actually disappears. Vishishta Advaita is, if you translate that, Jiva Jagat Vishishta Brahma. Brahman, the ultimate reality, qualified by sentient beings like us and the insentient world. Sentient beings remain, and the insentient world remains. And there is an underlying reality called God, an organic unity. Often this is mistaken for Advaita. It's a kind of oneness. It's a kind of non-duality also, because apart from that organic unity, there is no other thing. But all things retain their differences. The beautiful example is the body. The parts of the body, hands are not feet. The feet is not my tummy, but they are all, the unity is one body. Similarly, we are all parts of the body of God, but definitely we have our individual differences. There are people and animals, and they all have individual qualities, and these are real. But a pot is not, this is a beautiful example, a pot is not a part of clay. Clay is the pot, a part of the clay. If I say there is a table and it has many parts, here is the top, here is the stand, and there is the bottom. These are the parts of the table. But if I say the table is made of wood, is the wood a part of the table, or is the table a part of the wood? Is it one component? No. It is the very reality, the very material. Similarly, this universe is not a part of Brahman. It is not that a lot of things have been fitted together to make Brahman. Brahman is not a collection. So similarly, Advaita Vedanta says Brahman is, the universe is an appearance or nothing in itself. But Vijnana Vedanta says You are back in this universe after enlightenment. Now, how do you see this universe? Will you see it as all real and there is a separate underlying unity to it? Or God alone, like Upen Maharaj said, no, not two, there is only one. Not two, there is only one. The one is Brahman. Yeah. So that's how I see it. Right, and here it becomes rather clear. Stage 3 in my analysis, pot, stage 1. Stage 2, introduce the idea of clay, duality. Stage 3, see that the pot is pervaded by clay. That would correspond to Vishishta Advaita. I'm just splitting it up, not that Shankaracharya says anything like that. But the analysis is not complete. We see that the pot has no existence apart from the clay. That becomes non-duality, Advaita, because it's a kind of clay non-duality, not a Brahman non-duality. And then finally, you still end up, after all the Advaita class, the pot is still there. So how do you regard the pot? As clay and clay only, as God appearing as this universe. That's how I would distinguish. Yes.
So you would call them different levels of realization?
I would.
Yes.
Not that the dualist or the Vishishta Advaitin will be happy with
But
it.
you want Krishna also?
He would. Swami Vivekananda definitely would. Notice I am making a hierarchy here. I am privileging non-duality above duality. This is because it's a non-dual text. So Sri Ramakrishna did not do that. Swami Vivekananda often did it. Duality, qualified monism, non-duality. But Sri Ramakrishna had a more flat kind of thing. Yes.
So in stage 3, the process was being just the clay and not the pot. The two things that come to my mind are, one, is it contemplative or is it meditative? Because it seems like I have to drop the attribution to be able to see just the clay.
Yes.
So the practice of dropping attribution is, to me, I suppose in my terms, is silencing the mind. So the mind is what does the attribution, right?
Right. We will see.
How?
I understand. In the second half, we will see that you're asking about the difference between yogic meditation and Vedantic meditation, precisely. So we will see. The answer to your question is in the word used in verse number 135. How do you do this? His answer is vicharataha, by analysis. Not by silencing the mind, by using the mind. In what way? By silencing the mind, you will not arrive at the clay. You will just arrive at quietness. You have to investigate into the parts to see what is meant by clay. You have to investigate into our experience of the world to find out the existence consciousness, which is you yourself. And that part is called vicharata, by analysis. There will be a time to silence the mind. Once you have got the reality, you need to settle down there and focus on it. Stay with it for some time to make it your very nature, like second nature. Then yogic meditation, the silencing of the mind, all those will be helpful. But silencing of the mind is not the method. The method is actually using the mind here. Yeah.
Okay. This question is because you were talking enlightenment. Vandana now sent me this question and said I have to ask you in the workshop. I'm asking this on behalf of Vandana. He said, Swamiji, you are both very talented, very learned. Swamiji, you are both very learned monks and have been practicing Vedanta for numerous years. Do you consider yourself enlightened? Please comment.
I have already given you the answer at the very beginning. 3 reasons why one should pursue this path. One is ultimately everybody is going to be enlightened. Second, what else will you do except being spiritual? Third, the practical use. Moment to moment, day to day, I and Swamiji and Mataji and Vandanaji and you, all of us, we get the benefits of this. Every day we are getting it. It's very precious to us. Whether it's Vedanta or devotion, our spiritual practices, or doing good to others, all of these are very useful to us. And finally, what Upen Maharaj said, quoting Jagadanandaji, if I say yes, will you believe me? He could say that. I am certainly not going to say that. I don't know about Maharaj. But recently, I refer you to a video which has just been uploaded by Harvard University. So I was interviewed there, and they have uploaded I and some other monastics. And they asked the question. Did you see that? Yes. One question, a beautiful question. Not that are you enlightened, but do you feel you are on the right path? Are you satisfied with this? And firmly, yes, it is the right path. Not a day goes by when I am not glad that I chose this path and I see the reality of this path. That's why I say, what else will you do when you realize this? When you know that this is real, what else will you pursue? A lot of questions here. I'll try to do a rapid fire round. We'll see quickly.
First thing I wanted to ask, you already answered that why we should pursue enlightenment, and if not, everybody is going to get it. So you have already answered that, so I thought I'd ask this. Is enlightenment like knowing the secret code or master code of the universe?
Yes, it's like Matrix, when you know when you can actually see the underlying, it's like that actually. It's like that. From an Advaitic perspective, seeing an underlying reality or the reality of what you're experiencing, it's like that. And once you do that, yes. We are already cutting into a break time. Hold on to the questions. We'll have time again. We have extended periods in the second half. And also you can have written questions which you can submit just before lunch. We will work it into our talks. Thank you very much. Thank you.